Captain Tom Reed stood at the edge of the diplomatic chamber, watching as the alien delegation examined the display of human historical artifacts. The Viridians, tall beings with iridescent skin that shifted colors with their moods, currently flickered between shades of blue curiosity and green amusement. "And this," said Ambassador Wilson, gesturing to a glass case containing an ancient revolver, "is one of our early projectile weapons, from approximately 300 Earth years ago." The lead Viridian, Commander Nix, leaned forward. His skin rippled with purple mirth as a sound like wind chimes, their equivalent of laughter, filled the room. "How quaint," Nix said through the translator. "Primitive chemical propellants and metal projectiles. We abandoned such inefficient means of warfare millennia ago." Reed clenched his jaw but remained silent. The Viridians had arrived 6 months ago, offering technological exchange and protection from the various threats lurking in the galaxy. Humanity needed allies, especially after discovering just how crowded and dangerous the universe really was. "I suppose this would be effective against soft-bodied creatures," Nix continued, his tone condescending. "But against modern armor or energy shields, completely useless." Ambassador Wilson smiled diplomatically. "Of course, we've advanced significantly since then." "Have you?" Another Viridian chimed in. "Your current defensive capabilities seem adequate for a young species, but your offensive technologies remain remarkably similar in principle." Reed had heard enough. He stepped forward, earning a warning glance from Wilson. "Commander Nix," Reed said, "would your delegation be interested in observing a current weapons demonstration? We're conducting exercises tomorrow that might provide context for our technological progression." Wilson looked alarmed, but Nix's skin flashed with yellow interest. "We would be most curious, Captain Reed," Nix replied. "Though I doubt we'll see anything truly impressive by galactic standards." The next day, Reed led the Viridian delegation to an observation platform overlooking a vast testing range. In the distance, a decommissioned cruiser floated in Earth orbit, marked for destruction. "This demonstration will showcase what we call the Armstrong Cannon," Reed explained as technicians prepared the weapon below. "It's a descendant of that primitive revolver you saw yesterday." Nix's skin flickered with skepticism. "The same chemical propellant principle?" "Not exactly," Reed replied with a small smile. The platform vibrated as massive sections of the ground below retracted, revealing an enormous barrel emerging from the earth. The Viridian's skin collectively flashed with surprise. "What you saw yesterday was a hand weapon," Reed continued. "What you're seeing now is what happens when humans decide to scale up." The Armstrong cannon extended fully, its barrel nearly half a kilometer long. Solar panels unfurled along its length, capturing energy to power the massive electromagnetic accelerators within. "The principle remained sound," Reed explained as the weapon oriented toward the target. "But we replaced gunpowder with staged electromagnetic acceleration. The projectile is a depleted uranium rod with a tungsten carbide tip, approximately 3 meters long." Nix's skin had shifted to a cautious orange. "Kinetic impactors are common enough, Captain, but they're easily detected and countered." Reed nodded. "Unless they move at relativistic speeds." A deep hum built around them as the cannon charged. Then, with surprisingly little visual fanfare, it fired. There was no explosion, no visible projectile, just a slight shimmer in the air. 3 seconds later, the decommissioned cruiser in orbit erupted into a spectacular fireball as the hypersonic round tore through it from bow to stern. "Impact velocity at approximately 6% light speed," announced a technician. "Clean strike." The Viridians had gone completely still, their skin shifting to a pale white that Reed had never seen before. "This is a small demonstration model," Reed added casually. "Our defensive platforms around Mars utilize larger versions that can accelerate projectiles to 12% light speed. We're working on improvements." Nix turned to Reed, his translator struggling to convey the complex harmonics of his speech. "You've weaponized relativistic physics with a scaled-up version of that primitive artifact?" Reed shrugged. Human history is filled with examples of taking simple concepts and refining them to their logical conclusion. That revolver you laughed at? It's the great-grandfather of what you just witnessed. Ambassador Wilson stepped forward, her diplomatic training taking over. What Captain Reed means to illustrate is that humanity values traditional wisdom while embracing innovation. We hope this demonstration shows that we have much to offer in a technological exchange. The Viridians huddled together, communicating in rapid tones too complex for the translators to process. When they finished, Nix approached Wilson and Reed. "We may have underestimated humanity's ingenuity," Nix admitted, his skin now a respectful shade of deep blue. "Perhaps our alliance negotiations should proceed with revised parameters." Later, as they walked back to the diplomatic quarters, Wilson whispered to Reed, "That was risky, Captain. They could have seen our demonstration as threatening." Reed nodded. "Or they could have continued viewing us as primitive curiosities rather than equals. Sometimes respect comes before friendship." Wilson couldn't argue with the results. By that evening, the Viridians had offered humanity access to their FTL communication network, something they'd previously deemed too advanced for Earth. As Reed looked at the night sky later, he smiled. The universe might be vast and ancient, but it was about to learn what humanity had known for centuries. Never underestimate something simply because it started small.